Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be changing the brake pads on this Vauxhall Mokka X 2017 model, and hopefully you'll join me in watching and seeing how we change the brake pads. Now this is the first time I've done it on the Vauxhall Mokka, so hopefully it goes well. So things you'll need to do to change the brake pads are a decent jack, axle stands, some lubricant or copper grease for the brake pads on the edge, some pliers to get the hubcaps off, a caliper winder, 19mm socket and a 10mm spanner. So first of all, you're going to take off the brake reservoir cap on the engine and put some rags around it, so when you compress the caliper, any oil that will come out, the rags will grab it, but you shouldn't have any oil, hopefully, as long as it's not been overfilled. And then the first step, what we're going to do, we're going to remove these hubcap bolts. These are only plastic, so you're literally just going to pop them off like this with your pair of pliers. Literally just grab them, and then hopefully should pop up like that to revealing. And then most cars will have a wheel locking nut in there, so make sure you have that as well. So first stage, what we're going to do, we're going to jack up the car on the right jacking point, and then we're going to undo all these bolts, and then take the wheel off, and then make sure we've got some axle stands underneath the car just for extra security, and then we'll go from there. Right, as you can see, I've taken the wheel off. I did forget to mention it's best to loosen your wheel nuts first before you jack it up, and then when you jack up the car, then you can undo the rest of the wheel nuts, and then the wheel will come off, which then showing your brake caliper. You see the old brakes are in there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to loosen these bolts here. So we've got an 11mm or 10mm, sorry, bolt here, and a 10mm bolt here. And then what you're going to do, you're going to loosen these off, undo these, and then the caliper, if you leave the top one, the bolt's still in there, then what you'll do, you can literally just pull the caliper up, showing the brake pads. So then we're going to loosen this here, unscrew this, hopefully when we take this bolt out, loosen this one off, you'll see the caliper comes loose. And then what you could do when it comes loose, spring up there, you can see the piston in there that we're going to wind back a bit later with the winding tool. And then now we're showing the brake pads, brake disc. So we're going to remove these, and then hopefully they'll come out nice and easily. Which they do. And then you'll notice the back ones have got this little clip here, so we've got to make sure that that is going to be the back brake. And then you can see where your caliper piston will go, and then your front one's got some notches. So what we're going to do, we're going to clean this up a little bit and then put in the new brake pads. Right, so to put the new brake pads on, best to put like a little bit of copper slip on each end. Careful not to get any on the brake pad, and then you could literally, hopefully just slide it in there, push it together, and that is your new brake pads on there. And then what we're going to do, we're going to get the wind up tool, and then we're going to wind up this caliper and then push that piston in. And then once that's in, then we should be able to lower this back down, do the bolts up, and then that is your front brake pad complete. We can put the wheel back on, put all that back on, tighten the bolts, lower it down, tighten the bolts up on the wheel again, obviously removing your axle props and everything as well. And then we shall move on to the back brake. So we've got the wind up tool ready and set. As you can see, it's going to push against the caliper. You put this part onto the piston, and then what you're going to do, you're just going to slowly wind this up, pushing the piston in, remembering that that cap in the engine is taken off for your brake fluid reservoir. So if you didn't have this, it would be quite hard to push it in. So then we're just going to wind it in as much as we can, and hopefully wind it back out. Oops. You can take this off, and hopefully that should then yep, we can see sits back on there nicely. And then we're going to push, going to put your bolt, the 10mm bolt, back into the bottom. And you're going to tighten all of that up. And then if you're just doing the front brakes, then what you can do at this point, then you'll just go into the car and push your foot onto the brake pedal to release those calipers up against the brakes, and then there you're good. But what I'm going to do, because I'm doing all four, I'm going to move on to the back and then change them, and then I'll put my foot on the brake. Hopefully they'll come all nice and tight, and we'll go from there. Okay, and then what we're going to do now, once we've tightened these up, I'm just going to put the wheel back on. Okay, I'll see you in a second with the wheel back on. As you can see, we put the wheel back on. I'm going to put the hubcaps back on there now. Although majority of the time it's just literally a push on, like so. I'm going to do that all the way around. And then, as I say, that's how we change the brake pads. Then what you'll do, we'll then put the cap back on the brake fluid reservoir, go into the car, put your brake on the pedal until it tightens up, and then that will be your calipers pushed up against your brake pads. And that's how we change brake pads on a Vauxhall Mokka X. Shout out to my main man Jason Singh at Jasco Productions for creating the logo for this channel and supporting me in this video. Thanks for watching.